Hey everybody, Bert here. I'm here at the shop right now doing a little sub-assembly for a project tomorrow. First of all, we have our 90-degree couplings, and we also have a gate valve here. This is a heavy-duty 3/4 inch gate valve. The way we're going to install this one is we're going to install it on the water heater supply line, and these particular supply lines here for the hot and cold. We've got also here a spare 3/4 inch. We're just going to take pieces from this to put together the assembly. So the first thing that you want to do is obviously you want to make sure you have new parts. You can see these parts are new. You're going to prep them and get them ready for the sub-assembly. We take off any tags that would prevent the assembly from going on smoothly. So we're going to remove this tag. And at that point, the next thing I like to do is I usually like to kind of take a wire brush and just kind of hone out the inside. Want to make sure there's no dust, no sticky parts that might be on the inside. It helps so that the two ends can fuse together perfectly. And we're going to do a SWET weld. So we're going to actually use solder and a heat torch to connect these parts together. This is a real simple procedure that we commonly do in the homes when we go in to do remodels, repair, and it's a very simple process, but it's very effective, and it actually lasts for quite a long time. After that, we want to make sure that all of our connectors here are 90, as well as our couplings here also get honed out as well. So I usually take my wire brush and just kind of go around in circles in a circular motion, just honing out the inside of that coupling. Make sure it's free from any dust or debris. And then on our 90, we usually take, I take sandpaper. I keep sandpaper here, and I usually try to get a nice new piece. That way it'll sand very efficiently and effectively. And you just want to sand those edges until you get it to where it has sort of a clean finish. A lot of times these parts come with, oftentimes these parts come with tags that enable the supplier to track them and also price them. So a lot of times those tags can be in a location where it would prevent the fusion when we install it. This particular edge here is sort of a male end, 3/4 end. This edge here is what we would consider a female 3/4 end. So we want to just kind of hone out that inside of the female end and get it nice and clean so that when we do put the parts together, they'll go together very smoothly. So first thing I want to do is figure out this gate valve. I want to figure out exactly what end is the intake end and what end is the exit end. So we want intake and exit for the water run. I usually determine which way the valve swings, the arm swings. For this particular installation, it's a really simple quarter swing. And this one is swinging from the bottom up, so that would indicate that this would be, we're going to use this as the exit flow, and this is going to be the intake flow from the water heater. I usually do the same. You want to hone out these insides as well. Give it a little visual inspection to make sure there's nothing impeding the rotation of the arm. And once again, clean it out. All right, you want to make sure that you have a good pipe cutter. This is a portable pipe cutter. we're just gonna cut a little piece off here, and you're just gonna open it out, extend it out. You just wanna put it on there snug, and the way I do it is I just make sure it's just a little snug on there as such, and then you just rotate it in a circular motion, and as you're rotating it, you're turning the dial. That will allow it to, you can see it's being scored here. That scoring is going to get deeper and deeper until it actually cuts. So you can see here it's scoring, and if you're rotating the pipe, you can see that that score gets deeper and deeper and deeper until it actually cuts. Sometimes when you're on site, you can't rotate the pipe as I'm doing here. You have to rotate the tool. Now you can see there we've got nice clean ends there that's going to fit nicely up into our gate valve here. And that's a nice snug fit. And then our supply line is going to go on as such. Okay, dry fitting the parts is always important. That way you don't get the flux on there and then figure out that you have a problem with the fit. All right, so it looks like this is going to work very well. Now the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to add our flux, and here you can see is our flux. This is flux. You can see that it's still in good condition. We need a little brush. I usually keep all of this in my plumbing box here, and here's a little brush that I'll use for the flux. All right, first things first is you want to take those parts apart. You have to be careful because sometimes the copper end here can be bent, and if it's bent, the parts won't go in. You can see there's actually a little, looks like a little bend right there. It kind of makes it a little tough, but I think we can get it in okay. Once we put the flux on, it'll really slide in a lot easier. So this is lead-free tinning flux is what it's called. It's lead-free, and you just want to kind of run it around the edges, the outer edge as such. And when you get it on there nice and liberal, go ahead and insert it into the gate valve. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and insert that into the gate valve. See how easy that went in? It goes in very easy now that that flux is on it. And then on this end, we've got our 45, the male end. We want to do the male end. Keep in mind, this is the female end, and this is the male end. Female, male. So we want to be sure that we do the male end. And get it on there. I like to get it on there really nice and liberal. All right, it's gonna melt once the heat hits it. It's gonna really melt, but it'll help that solder to flow and form a fillet, which is what we want. So we're gonna put that on that end like that, and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and do the bottom one as well. Okay. Now, at this point, Now at this point we're going to, I usually, to prevent, because we're going to be working with fire here, we're going to be working with a flame. We're using our MAP gas to create the heat necessary to melt the solder. So we're going to put that on now, and we're going to make contact with the solder on this end, and this end. And when you're soldering, when you're doing this, you want to try to get the heat on this side and the solder on this side. But in this case, because I'm standing this way, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to put the heat on this side, and we'll have the solder on this side. All right. Turn your gas on. Take a lighter. Once it's going, go ahead and apply it. You want to apply it to the coupling itself. And I usually go in a kind of a circular motion like so. And you want to put it right up against there, because it's going to take a lot of heat to heat this coupling enough so that the solder will melt. You don't want to put the solder in the fire itself. You want to get that coupling as hot as necessary so that it will melt and flow. And you can see it's already flowing. All right, next one. It's right in here. This is kind of tricky. Again, fire on the one side, solder flux on the other side. This is going to be a little tricky because it's kind of like you're doing it upside down. We do this often in the field, working on parts upside down like this. It still should flow fairly well. Once we can get it hot enough, it should flow. Sometimes you're going to have to rotate it a little bit, but you can see we're getting a nice even bead of solder, and just rotate it around a little bit. Okay, it's an easy process, but it does require a little skill, visual inspection, just to kind of make sure you've got all the crevices filled, and that's pretty much it. Turn your torch off, and I usually set it out of the way. This is very hot, so you don't want to touch it with your bare hands. You can see it's very hot, so I'll take a wire brush and sometimes kind of clean it up, but oftentimes it doesn't matter that you have a little excess flux there. That's pretty much it. Looks good. It looks really good. Okay, that thing is pretty hot. This is going to connect to the wall. This is going to go to the water heater, and that's it. Thanks for watching Burt Breach Builders. Remember, keep us in mind for all your repairs, remodel, new construction, and if you have any need for services regarding furniture delivery, we do that as well. Our number is on the screen. We service all of California, so if you have any needs in any part of California, just give us a call or go to our website, and we'll see if we can't help you out. Take care. Bye.